Hello, my name is Scott Clark, and this is my PEST analysis of Mexico for Management 4420, Multinational Management at Louisiana State University of Alexandria, with Professor Romero. The Mexican political development is very similar to the United States of America. Mexico has a three-branch system of president, Congress, and Supreme Court, just like the United States. The difference is that the president is elected for a 6-year term, and he or she is not allowed to run for a second term. The Senate and the Congress are they're allowed to run for 2 6-year terms for a maximum of 12 years, unlike the American government where they can run for the rest of their life if they so chooses. There is no term limit. And the Supreme Court is not appointed to a lifetime appointment. Instead, they're appointed to a 15-year appointment, and that is the maximum that they can serve. There is a definitive and firm system of government that works very well in Mexico. However, there is a large history of corruption and bribery that pervades inside Mexico and the Mexican government. There has been accusations that even presidents were involved with corruption and knowledgeable about bribery. And that can make the expansion into Mexico very difficult, and it would be one of the strong considering factors. The sociocultural analysis: Mexico has a population of 130.3 million residents as of 2021. Approximately 62% of the population is Mestizo or Amerindian Spanish. There has been a large population spike since the 50s, but the growth rate has decreased since the 90s because of the decrease in the marriage rate. Currently, approximately 80% of the population live inside a urban area, and only 19% live in rural areas. The rural development areas have decreased in population significantly since the 1960s, with the large majority moving to the urban areas. Approximately 80% of the population follows the Roman Catholic faith as well. The Roman Catholic faith is very deep inside the Mexican government, or inside the Mexican culture. Many of the celebrations, many of the daily activities, they're held inside Mexico. You can see the Roman Catholic faith pushing and showing its depths every day. One of the aspects that we have to consider is the business culture in Mexico if we decide to expand there. One of the main differences of Mexico is the frequent small talk that happens during business meetings. Business meetings are meant to be polite, as that can be very important. Demanding behavior, agreeing to something without having all the knowledge and without having a positive relationship is not something that you're going to see in Mexico as often as you would see inside the United States. The Mexican economy is fairly strong. It is the 15th largest GDP in the world, and it is the second largest economy in Latin America. In 2021, Mexico's GDP was 1.293 trillion US dollars, with a GDP of $9,926.42 per capita. According to the global inflation rate tracking, however, Mexico does have the 5th highest inflation rate globally over the previous year as of October of 2022, with an 8.4% inflation rate. They also have an interest rate of 10%, which is an all-time high for Mexico's documented interest rates. The Bank of Mexico decided to increase that inflation rate to 10%, or the interest rate to 10%, in attempts to combat inflation. The goal is to get inflation back down to the 3% area by the third quarter of 2024. And with that decrease in inflation, you would then see a decrease in interest rates as well. While inflation rates and interest rates are high in Mexico, that is not uncommon around the world post-COVID-19. You see that in generally every market that we have the potential to expand to. And we can also see that inflation and interest rates are not making a large impact on economic growth post-COVID-19, as the economic activity has expanded 5.7%, which is significantly larger than any estimates were, and the median estimate was a 3.1% growth for Mexico. So they are far surpassing what any estimates are, and we look to see a continued growth as interest rates and inflation rates continue to drop back down to normal. Mexico has a strong import-export market with over 75% of the imports and exports going to the United States. Their primary exports include automobiles, computers, and crude petroleum, while primary imports include machinery, vehicles, and plastics, and once again, mostly from the United States. There is a mixed economy in Mexico, with the largest portion based on the private sector and the free market. However, there is a small planned market with government oversight. One of the largest effects on the Mexican economy was NAFTA that went into effect in 1990. Mexico had an increased trade from approximately 25% to over 40% with the United States after the introduction of NAFTA. However, NAFTA has been replaced by the USMCA as of July 1st, 2020. One of the biggest things that we'll see an impact on is nearly a tripling of the factory worker rate requirement, pay rate requirement for Mexican workers, which will be required in 2023. So you will see a large increase in pay for the Mexican factory workers. And that might be one of the downsides of moving to Mexico is how much they've had to increase pay. Mexico is also part of the World Trade Organization and has had a very successful partnership with the World Trade Organization, making many trade partnerships around the world. So it's not just the United States, and far from it. Technological development. Mexico is a very technologically stable country. The same general technology can be found in most developed countries of the world. However, Mexico has some very highly sought after commodities, one of them being artificial intelligence and their advanced artificial intelligence that they've developed there. This advanced artificial intelligence makes it easier to develop software, to decrease the cost of coding, and increases the speed in which software development can be had. However, there is one downfall to that. The Mexican government does not allow patents on software. So if software is developed in Mexico, we will not be able to patent it, and that could be detrimental and an area for concern. My conclusion is that Mexico has a fairly strong economy, given the world's current climate. Most other countries and most other options for moving into have the same concerns, so I think we could push those aside. However, they are highly advanced technology-wise. They have strong factories. They have strong software development. And I do believe that Mexico would be a good option to expand into. If I was giving my opinion, I would say that we should develop into Mexico. Thank you very much.